Hello, my name's Maria Paviour. I'm an occupational psychologist, a neuroscientist and also a tech developer, and the first things that I ever did in technology and psychology back in 1988 was human-machine interaction. So I've been interested in how people interact with technology right back from 1988 when I won an award for my work, hooray. And then in 1996, 97, 98, I was winning government demonstrator awards for demonstration of what they call multimedia technology. And this was all around mental health at work. So my background from way back has been in looking at mental health and technology and how the two can come together in order to support people better. So where I'm coming from today is to talk about the idea that life is not actually a disorder and nor is work, and that it is normal to feel sometimes not great at work, sometimes we feel a little stressed or a little anxious, and those things aren't necessarily negative things. And my biggest concern at the moment is the over-medicalisation of life at work. So where I'm coming from in terms of mental health and mental health technology is really focusing on people who are working. And I'm noticing this increasing need to medicalise what is going on in the workplace, as though work is intrinsically a mental health problem. So there are a few things that I think are really important that we need to be thinking about in terms of technology and mental health, and working in an ethical way rather than working to promote additional use of technology. So the first thing is, way back when I was working in human-machine interaction, we were using gamification to try to get people who'd never touched a computer before and said that if they touched it, it might blow up, that kind of thing, to actually feel comfortable with it. So I'm really kind of aware of the benefits of having gamification to enable people to benefit from technology. But I also think we've got to consider some of the dangers in oversimplifying the way that mental health can be looked at through the lens of technology. And there are three key things that I think we need to focus on, and I'm going to try and keep this little film very, very brief to those three key considerations. And the first consideration is that we need to really think about mental health in terms of how we can connect better with other human beings. So if we are connected, we know from a psychological, from a neuroscience point of view, we know connecting to other people makes us feel healthier. So we need to ask ourselves about whether or not, when we're encouraging people to use technology, are we encouraging them because we're thinking that it is beneficial to the technology rather than beneficial to the human? So, for example, technology that encourages you to use it, encourages you to keep engaging with it, is that actually beneficial for humans, or is it actually beneficial in the way that we can sell that technology? And a lot of the time what we're seeing is people are talking about levels of engagement. So if we are going to have a successful piece of tech in mental health, then it demonstrates very, very high levels of engagement. Well, I want to controversially say, I don't think that's a very good idea. We know the evidence shows that actually the more screen time people have, the more negatively it affects their mental health. So it's completely oxymoronic to say, let's improve your mental health by having you really engage in this piece of technology. So the first thing I think we have to be careful about is not using clickbait in our mental health technology. And that's one of the ways in which we need to become more humane in the way that we use it. So what I mean by that is, when you have a piece of technology that is telling you, these are all the things that are available to you, you might want to look at this, you might want to look at that. You know how tempting it is when you're on social media or any kind of platform really, and you see something that you wouldn't ordinarily click on, but it just looks kind of a little bit interesting, so you think you might go down that pathway, maybe have a look. Health apps are having exactly the same effect, where people are going into a health app because maybe they're feeling a little bit stressed or whatever it is that they're feeling. Maybe they're thinking about, how am I going to get a good night's sleep? And there laid out before them are all of these tempting little enticing nuggets of information. And before you know it, you've actually got a health tech that is clickbait, that is encouraging you to click and click and click and click. Now, that's the last thing we actually want health tech to do, because when we're clicking, we're actually not doing what we need to do, which is to be able to get away from the screen and improve our mental health through human connection. So another thing we need to be thinking about is how can we be more responsive and have less rabbit holes. So going down these rabbit holes is not the ideal thing, but it is very, very tempting to do. And this being responsive, we have to identify the difference between likes and being responsive. So likes encourage you to go back and do more, but actually they are not connection. We know that. I know we all know that. But we have to actually be brave enough to say with our technology, we aren't going to push people to like it because it isn't necessary. You don't have to like everything. You only have to find it useful and beneficial to you. And that might only be on one occasion. That might be enough. And we should be aiming for once to be ideal. The ideal is that you don't have to keep coming back. If you think about it, when we're looking at physical health, if you have to go back time and time again to have your physical health put right, it isn't considered a particularly good solution. It isn't considered a good solution to give people repeat medication that they have to go back and have all the time. It might be the only thing that will work, but it isn't the ideal thing. The ideal thing is cure, and then people go about their lives. Now, in mental health apps, some of the things we're doing, we're working sometimes, not me personally because I work with people who are at work, but there are a lot of people who work at a clinical level and who are working with people who have really quite profound mental health issues, and they might never get access to the right sort of therapy and support without actually going through the technology. That is a group of people that I'm putting over there in my mind. Because what I'm talking about is the people who are not basically ill, but are dealing with the normal ups and downs of dynamic mental health that we all have all the time, that does not require a diagnosis. And those are the people that we need to make sure do not feel like they have to fall into a category. We don't need them categorised or medicalised. We actually want them empowered. We want those people to say, I've got a solution, I think I'll go and apply it. Not, I've got a crutch and I'm going to use it all the time. So we don't want them going down resource rabbit holes. We want tech that is responsive to every individual's needs, and that means that those needs may only be very minimal. My aim is ultimately minimum amount of time that anybody has to use technology. That is what I'm aiming for. The least possible, not the most possible, because the least possible will enable us to find our humanity and connect with other people. That's what we should be aiming at, supporting people to become self-empowered, not encouraging them to continually use. And on the likes front, I have had organisational clients saying to me, well, people haven't really engaged as much as they in your technology as they might in other technology. And so we want to go to the other one. And we have to educate people. It's vital we educate people. Not using technology is not a failing in the individual. Not using health technology does not mean they are automatically somehow suffering. So we have to kind of educate people to understand that it's only the amount of use that we really need that actually matters, that is actually important. We just need what we need and no more. And not everybody will benefit from health tech. And that's also okay. It is not a failing of the tech. So there are two of the key things. And then the third thing is really thinking about, from my position, bearing in mind that I'm looking at work and people who are at work, that rather than actually having people distracted by digital, we actually want them focused on their work, focused on the things that give them joy. And There may be an element of using technology that comes into that, but very often what really gives us joy is the simple things in life. So the key to it is to make sure that we are encouraging people to use the technology to give them the best that they can get from life. And that means being able to go out and connect and take their dog for a walk, go out, see the beautiful, outside my window there, see the beautiful countryside. I'm not at the moment, it's got the blinds down because it's so hot, but look at the beautiful countryside, see all the fractals in nature, feel yourself more grounded, because technology is a great thing, but it's not the answer to everything. Truly the answer to everything is love. Okay, I said it, all right? And I don't care. But it really is. You know, it's what we love, who we love, and how we can express that. That's what gives us the real joy. So to make our technology really humane and to make it meaningful, and therefore, for me, to make it ethical, we need to be thinking about less is more. Thank you very much. And please feel free to get in touch with me if you want to find out more about our controversial and disruptive way of looking at technology, particularly in the workplace. I'm sure you can contact me on, well, some kind of website thing that is part of this conference. But if you want to get in touch with me, my name is Maria Paviour. It's spelled like Paviour. It's spelled like Saviour, but with a P. And you can catch me on LinkedIn. And I would really love anybody to give their comments, tell me what you think, because this is always a work in progress. So really keen to hear what other people have to say. So if you've been listening to this, thank you for giving me the time. And please do get in touch and give me some feedback. Thank you.